Check these verses out in Deuteronomy 32, the Song of Moses. But Israel grew fat and kicked. You are grown fat, you are grown thick, you are covered with fatness. Then he forsook God which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation. So that's the Father, that's the Son, the rock of his salvation, and the God who made him. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods. With abominations they provoked him to anger. They sacrificed unto devils, not to God, to gods whom they knew not, to new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not. Of the rock that begat you, you are unmindful, and you have forgotten the God that formed you. And when Yahweh saw it, he hated them because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be, for they are a very froward generation, children in whom there is no faith. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. We made God jealous because of other gods. God made us a, jealous with those who are not a people. And I think I know what he's talking about. The Khazars, a nomadic Turkic people. Nomads don't have a central land, okay? What we have to understand about Tartarian and all that stuff is that these people were just a bunch of nomadic warrior tribes, a bunch of clans fighting one another for turf, enslaving, genociding, like Genghis Khan type stuff. Like that was their entire religion. And this is what I think God meant by making them jealous with a foolish nation, those who are not a people. Ashkenazi aren't Jews. Ashkenazi are not Jews. They are fake converts. They are, oh, it's horrible. It's horrible what they've done to Judaism. The Khazars were a nomadic Turkic people that in the late 6th century AD established a major commercial empire from European Russia, southern Ukraine, Crimea, and Kazakhstan. They were known for being the most powerful polity to emerge from the breakup of the Western Turkic Khaganate. So this always happens. These tribes would break up and rebuild and break up and rebuild. It was very much like Esau. They very much behaved like Esau or like Cain, like these wanderers, and they try to rebuild the wickedness, and God smashes it down, and they build it up again and try again later. Astride a major artery of commerce. Okay, so anyway, very powerful nation. I mean, look at that border. But really, what it is, it's just a bunch of people coming together for a common agenda because somebody managed to enslave a very large army. They all fight for the highest bidder. They're basically like a race of mercenaries. So we see the religions are Judaism, Tangrism, which is that's the religion of Genghis Khan, which is like they worship Lucifer. Basically, they think Lucifer is God, and they worship this false angel god. Tangrism, Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, paganism, and religious syncretism, which is where they combine all the religions together. So I want to get to the part about the conversion. So we don't really know what their language was because they did a very good job of hiding it. The native religion of the Khazars is thought to have been Tangrism, like that of North Caucasian Huns and other Turkic peoples, as well as Genghis Khan. And we know what Genghis Khan was up to. He was raping all the women he could conquer and killing all the men he could, reduce the human population by hundreds of millions of people before they even had industry. There was no there was no metallurgy like there was in the World War One. 100 million people killed by Genghis Khan is extraordinary before the technology was ready for that. Okay, so the ruling elites of the Khazars were said by Judah Halevi and Abraham ibn Daud to have converted to Rabbinic Judaism, which means it comes from the lineage of the Pharisees. Rabbinic Judaism comes from the school of the Pharisees. It is not the truth. The truth is that read Psalms chapter 1, read Psalms chapter 2, and read the Gospels, and you will understand everything you need to know from those little chapters. The law of Moses, we must meditate on it day and night. Blessed is the man who walks not, so this is Psalms 1. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of Yahweh, and in his law he meditates day and night. He will be like a tree planted by rivers of water, whose fruit arrives in due season, and his leaves will not wither. Everything he does will prosper. Chapter 2. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine the plot of vain thing? The kings of the earth conspire against Yahweh and against his Messiah, saying, let us cut their cords, let us break their chains, let us destroy their shackles from among us. Yahweh will mock them and have them in scorn. He will shout in his wrath, and he will. I don't have the whole thing memorized, but basically it's like this is an ancient war that they've been fighting against God. And these Ashkenaz, because that's what they are, Ashkenazi. Ashkenaz is from the lineage of Japheth. They're not Hebrews, they're not Semitics. Well, these Ashkenaz, they have infiltrated Judaism, and I believe they're the Khazars. The scope of the conversion to Judaism within the Khazar Khanate seems uncertain. Well, remains uncertain. Well, yeah, we can't know for sure, but what we can know is that God made a promise. I will bring you the jealousy with those which are not a people. There is a group of people pretending to be Hebrews, pretending to be Jews, and they have hijacked Judaism. And that's why I am absolutely against Yiddish. I am against Ashkenazi culture. If it's not in the law of Moses, we have no business following. If it does not align to the law of Moses, we have no business doing it. Where the Khazars dispersed after the fall of the empire is subject to many conjectures. Oh yeah, where did they go? They just disappeared, huh? Maybe they went to Poland. Maybe they said they were Jews and went to Poland and Germany and Ukraine and Russia. Maybe they're the reason why Jews have such a bad reputation. I will bring them to jealousy with those which are not a people. Proposals have been made regarding the possibility of a Khazar factor of the ethnogenesis of numerous peoples, such as these people. All right. The late 19th century saw the emergence of the theory that the core of today's Ashkenazi Jews are descended from a hypothetical Khazarian Jewish diaspora, which migrated westward from modern-day Russia and Ukraine into modern-day France and Germany. Linguistic and genetic studies have not supported the theory of a Khazar connection to Ashkenazi Jewry. You didn't even put a citation. Linguistic and genetic studies have not. Where's the citation? You can't just say that without a citation. This theory still finds occasional support, but most scholars view it with considerable skepticism. Okay, yeah, you're supposed to look at everything with considerable skepticism. But the fact is you said that there are linguistic and genetic studies. I don't see a study. That sounds like Ashkenazi propaganda to me. Oh yeah, there's studies, and no, we're not Khazarians. Citation needed. The theory still finds occasional support, but most scholars view it with considerable skepticism, which is not dismissing it. It sounds like what they're saying is there is evidence for it, but it's not considered mainstream. The theory is sometimes associated with anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. That's funny because they're not Semites and they're not for Zion. The Ashkenazi, these are not following the law of Moses. They hate Jesus. Like, they literally wouldn't even write, they wouldn't even sign their names on the X when they were immigrating to the United States. They signed on the circle. They refused to sign on the X because it reminded them of the cross. I've seen Muslims do that same thing too, so we should know what they're about. Etymology. So Khazar comes from the hypothetical Khasar, reflecting a Turkic root, which means to roam, basically meaning they're wanderers, just like Cain was after he killed Abel. There's no rest for the wicked, none whatsoever. And that is basically how Japheth colonized most of the world. Japheth spread out from Caucasian mountains, spread all over Europe, all over the Eastern Europe, Asia, going into the Americas through the Bering Strait. After their conversion, it is reported that they adopted the Hebrew script, and it is likely that although speaking a Turkic language, the Khazar chancellery under Judaism probably corresponded in Hebrew. Linguistics, determining the origins and the nature of the Khazars, is closely bound with theories of their languages, but it is a matter of intricate difficulty since no indigenous records in the Khazar language survived, and the state was polyglot and polyethnic. Fine, their religion or their race doesn't matter, but their religion and their language does, especially if they infiltrated Judaism. I will bring them to jealousy with those which are not a people, because they have brought me to jealousy with that which is not God. Very interesting. So they don't know. They don't know their language. History. The tribes that were to comprise the Khazar Empire were not an ethnic union, but were congeries of steppe nomads and peoples who came to be subordinated and subscribed to a core Turkic leadership. They're not a people. It's not a real people. They've been driven into jealousy by a fake race of people who basically only understand power. And yeah, keep the law of Moses because the pagans are at war with us. I'm going to see if there's anything else here worth reading. An embryonic state of Khazaria began to form sometime after 630. They are not a people. And God drove us to jealousy with them because we drove God to jealousy with fake gods. That's the thing we got to remember about God. God doesn't play. Like, God loves us and all, but God is going to force us to move into the future. And the point of this movement is to build Zion. He's not going to let us wander in darkness forever. He's going to put a lot of pressure on us until we evolve. And he will only allow as much evil to happen to us as we deserve because of our disobedience to his laws. Anyway, I think that'll be it. I don't see anything else here. So yeah, they converted to Judaism and then they disappeared. I wonder where they went to. These Ashkenazi follow stuff that's not even remotely in the law of Moses. There's a ritual they do where they sacrifice chickens, and a lot of I think it was the Sephardic Jews were like, this resembles paganism. We're against this, and then the Ashkenazi rabbis were like, no, it's okay. We like it. So essentially, the Ashkenazi are witches. Okay, period. The Ashkenazi, they're not real Jews. They don't come from Israel. They don't support Zion. They don't support Israel. They are anti-Zionist, anti-Jewish. They're the people God described. Deuteronomy 32. I wonder how many of the Ashkenazis know that they are this people. You know, a lot of these Ashkenazi elites, like the Rothschilds, they must know what they actually are. They are witches. They are wizards. They are enemies of Zion. And they pretend to be Jews to give Judaism a bad reputation. And all of this could be fixed if we just kept the law of Moses. Keep the law of Moses and honor the Son. Jesus Christ is the Son of God in Psalms chapter 2. He's the Messiah. Kiss the Son lest he be angry. Okay? Keep the law of Moses and kiss the Son. That's really easy. That's not too complicated. Right? Yeah.